what's up? Good. I did.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
All right, how you
Miss
doing?
Rita? Roger that.
My name over there.
Roger that. Mark, how are you?
Good.
Joel's on his way up, Reed.
He's here, but he's not
yeah.
here.
Yeah. Joel says he's on his way up there. He's on his way up.
I'd like to call the stated session of City Council to order. Please rise and for the pledge, the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. We thank you for the much needed rain and ask you to look over our residents and keep them safe and healthy. Most of all this evening, we thank you for watching over our brother Luis Campos and keeping him with us and bringing him out of harm's way. We ask that you watch over the individuals that came to his aid, Ginger and Andrew, our two police officers and EMTs that responded, and the professionals at St. Luke's Easton Campus Emergency Room, especially under the direction of our former firefighter, Dr. Joseph Faccio. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Milan?
Here.
Mr. O'Connell?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Mrs. Sultana?
Here.
Mayor Panto?
Here. Approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and second. Any additions or corrections? Roll call.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Action on our minutes of our June 14th meeting.
Move.
Second.
Moved and second. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Roll call.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
And Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
At this point of the meeting, we'll have a swearing in of our 3 new police officers.
Firefighter.
Firefighters.
Sorry, guys.
Well, one was an officer.
Yeah, one. He's sworn in. Hold up to me. Way up. I didn't see him. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth. That I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and implement all policies and procedures without consideration of a person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. I further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I knowingly a member of any organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States of America or of this Commonwealth. Nor will I deny persons their rights under the Constitution of the United States or of this Commonwealth. I do further swear that I will not so advocate, nor will I knowingly become a member of such organization during the time that I'm a firefighter for the city of Easton.
Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, ma'am. Makes you feel a little, welcome aboard.
I also want to thank the other firefighters, the senior firefighters, or veteran firefighters that came tonight and witnessed this. You guys are doing a great job. Thanks for keeping the city safe. At this time, we have public comment on any agenda items only. At the end of the meeting, there is a time to talk about this, any questions, comments, or concerns you have about the city of Easton. At this time, it's for agenda items only. Is there anyone who would like to? Yes.
Ma'am, you have to come up and state your name.
Well, the first one, the buyer notification? Yes, come on up.
You have to go to the microphone, though. I need your name and address, please.
Hello. My name is Angela Spear, and I live at 1020 Ferry Street in Easton. And I was curious about bill number 22 because my house is already under agreement, and I want to make sure that I'm not going to have any issues.
The buyer notification, have you gotten the buyer notification inspection?
They're going to do it.
Oh, okay. This.
So that's okay, right? I mean, as long
Yeah.
as somebody's doing it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
was
the code,
my
the
question.
code office, not a house inspection, but a buyer notification is something that our code department does.
So there's no, I mean, is that different?
Yes. it's not a housing inspection that you would get like for mortgages or something that your buyer or your seller would get. This is something that our code department comes out and makes sure that the the building is up to code.
Right, right. But the buyer is going to take care of that. So
No, the
it's fine.
seller does. The seller takes care of that.
Well, not in my contract. So.
Oh, if in your contract,
So
the
I
buyer,
just want to make sure,
Angela,
that, since you're talking about it today, that that I'm
Okay.
going to be okay because it's
as long as it's being done, but I can follow up on that for you tomorrow.
all right, great.
I know
Thank
your
you.
house well. All right, I'm glad you sold. I'm just glad you sold it. Not glad you're leaving,
Well,
but
I'm hoping to.
yeah,
I'm hoping it goes through. If not, I mean, I came to you first.
Yeah. yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to address City Council with a comment, question, or concern on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
We have bill number 22 that was introduced by Mrs. Sultana, which would amend sections in chapter 222, buyer notification of the Code of the City of Easton. We have bill number 23 that was introduced by Mrs. Sultana, which would amend sections in chapter 285, fees of the codes of the City of Easton. We have bill number 24 that was introduced by Mrs. Sultana that would amend sections in chapter 515, streets and sidewalks of the Code of the City of Easton. We also have a resolution authorizing the application for PennDOT's Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Program, and it would help with the repair and replacement of the Abbott Street Bridge and lock over the Lehigh Canal, noting this is a reimbursement program, not a grant.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
And Mayor Panto?
Aye. I'll accept the fire report for the month of June, and we'll go right into committee reports. Vice Mayor Brown, Finance Committee.
Mayor, I don't have anything this evening for the finance, but I would like to report that I received a call this afternoon from Mr. Campos, and he wanted me to reiterate to the public, thank you for your prayers, your cards, and also to the mayor and the mayor's staff for doing everything they did. But most importantly, as the mayor stated earlier, those who was there that was his guardian angels at that time. He's very, very humble about that. He's not out of the woods, but he can certainly see light now, and we're grateful for that.
Okay. Economic Development Committee, Councilmember O'Connell.
Mayor, I don't have a report, but I have a few comments that I would just like to make, if I may.
Sure.
This is regarding the Ferry Street fire. And first of all, as many other people have already done, I would like to commend all the work that has been done by the county and the area nonprofits on behalf of all the victims of the fire. I think they've done yeoman's work really in helping people get resettled and reestablished. Secondly, I wanted to say, and I don't know if a lot of people really know this, but the city does not have social service agencies. The aforementioned agencies provide the social services, and the city provides help however it can. And the city does help. It does help in ways that are not immediately observable to the general public. For example, the neighborhood center, the community center, Safe Harbor, these are all nonprofits that are all housed in city-owned properties. The city charges each of these agencies $1 per year in rent, and it provides upkeep on the properties. And this does allow these nonprofits to devote their financial resources to helping disenfranchised people. The city, in collaboration with the Redevelopment Authority, is actively pursuing ways to offer affordable housing to those who need it. We are taking and rehabbing blighted properties, and we're selling them at below market rates to people who might not otherwise be able to afford homes. We're also working on establishing a housing development corporation to provide properties and financing to people in need of affordable housing. The reason I'm making these comments is that some people apparently believe that the city is not doing anything to help, specifically to help the residents, the unfortunate victims of the Ferry Street fire, and to help other people too who might need affordable housing. I just want to reiterate really that, again, we don't provide social services, but we're doing everything in our power to assist those who do provide social services. And I think that the city of Easton has a pretty good record, a record that we can be proud of in helping people who are in need of help and who are in need of getting housing. And I don't think we have anything to be embarrassed about. And I just think we're doing a very good job, and I hope the citizens of Easton realize that. Thank you, Mayor.
Good point, David. Thank you, Councilman. Planning and Codes Committee, Mrs. Sultana?
I have no report, Mayor, but I would like to have another meeting for having chicken in the city of Easton next Tuesday, a day before the council meeting, and that's all.
All right. That's the third third Tuesday of the month, the fourth Tuesday of the month, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Ruggles.
I have no report.
Public Works Committee, Councilman Edgar.
I have no report tonight.
Councilman Milan, Administration Committee.
I have no report.
Report of City Solicitor, Mr. Shear.
I have no report.
Report of the Mayor, I'd just like to mention a couple things. The Heritage Day obviously was a washout this year as we started preparing already. I want to thank all the downtown businesses that made their facilities available. A lot of the bands and dancing troops were moved indoors, and everyone we asked was just glad to do it. Want to also mention I did officially appoint David Hopkins as the acting city administrator today. The fireworks will be this Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. I was glad to see that Wilson Borough Council is opening up Fisk Field and Muser Park, two good locations. There's others that are around the high school, the courthouse parking lot, and I would also just like to mention that this Saturday night is cruise night downtown. Our first one in June was very successful. We had joyous and well over 125 cars. This weekend we expect good weather, and it'll be the band will be a few good men, another top-ranked band in the Lehigh Valley. And then I am working on the Housing Authority Boys and Girls Club dilemma, I will say, where they're trying to raise the rent $200,000. City Council did receive a copy of a memo I wrote today. They also won last week. I can only hope that that's resolved to the satisfaction that the Boys and Girls Club doesn't have to shut their doors. $200,000 is definitely shutting their doors. I am very humbled by the reports that I'm getting. City Council, I believe, got a copy of the memo or the email from Commissioner Terrence Hand, who's on that board. I've talked with, I know Councilmember Brown has talked to Reverend Martinez. Hopefully they're all being brought up to speed on what exactly is happening there. I cannot believe that HUD is making a difference now 15 years later after that building was built. And I want to remind everybody that the Boys and Girls Club has been doing this since 1974 when they first opened up, and it's always been the same arrangement with it. Why and how this came out of the dark, I don't know. But and I don't really care. I just know that it can't happen. The Boys and Girls Club has been the shining star of that area of the city, and it took the place of a project that was just absolutely visited at least 10 times a week by our police department. Violence and crime and drug activity was rampant, gunshots, and the neighborhood has completely turned around. The entire south side has turned around, and we are now asking Choice to support the Choice Neighborhood Grant application, which I do support as well. But I think that should be in jeopardy if we're going. You can't work on the West Ward projects if you're not going to keep what you already have on the south side. I mean, we just help one to decrease another. I was taken aback by the fact that the director thinks he works for HUD, but he's actually hired by 5 members of the authority that are approved by this council and recommended by the mayor, and it is known as the Housing Authority of the City of Easton. HUD did not hire him, and he works for Easton. So I'm really concerned that we get that done. He's wanted to meet with me about, he sent me an email asking me to meet with him about the Choice Neighborhood Grants. I refused unless the Choice Neighborhoods Grant is number 2 on the agenda. The first thing we got to resolve is the Boys and Girls Club debate and the rent, and that's the first thing we do. Then I'll gladly talk about Choice Neighborhoods. Also reminded the Housing Authority that the city has a $1,000 contribution to the Hope 6 project and the Boys and Girls Club, which we are still paying on. So how he can say that the city's not involved is beyond me. So I just want to update City Council that that is not resolved that yet, but I think we're getting more and more support. City Administrator is not here tonight, so we won't have a report from Lewis Campus. There's no correspondence, there's no unfinished business. Madam Clerk, we'll go right to new business.
We have bill number 25 that's going to be introduced by Mrs. Sultana, which would amend sections in chapter 318, historic preservation.
So I introduce.
And we have a resolution being introduced by Mr. Ettinger, which would approve a contract with Grace Industries for phase 1 of the Cattell Street Safety Improvements Project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. The Cattell Street project is one of our, Mr. Hopkins, why don't you come up and talk about the Wood Avenue also? Yeah, we finally got
You want me to address Cattell Street?
both, yeah.
So the Cattell, there's 3 phases of the Cattell Street project. Phase 1 has just been awarded, and we should see that starting up in the next month or so. That will involve rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which are pedestrian activated to highlight safety at High Street, March Street, and McCartney and College Avenue, which is getting to be, especially with the construction project, that's where everyone's going up and down the hill now, getting to be a busier intersection, and I think this will add a lot of safety to that. In addition, we'll be bumping the corners out, so as a pedestrian is waiting to cross the street, they're more visible to a driver because they're out beyond the parking lane where a driver can see the pedestrian waiting to cross the street. There are 2 other phases that are funded but waiting to finish design on. They'll include enhanced lighting, especially at the intersections. If you've ever driven up past the Wawa at night during the winter time, sometimes you'll see people walk in and out of parked cars, and it's kind of sketchy from a safety standpoint. So I think this project is going to do a lot. I should add, I know we had discussions over the past couple of years about Lafayette and Cattell, and we continue those discussions with PennDOT. We're in the middle of applying for some grants, and they've actually been pretty good to work with, so we didn't forget about the northern side of the corridor, because we also want to work on McCartney and Knox as well. So we're trying to do a comprehensive plan in that area. And then Wood Avenue, bids are due on Friday for Wood Avenue. So we have 3 total grants in there. I think the total is roughly 1.8 million. And we'll see how we do. Contractor pricing has been, I'd say, unfavorable over the past year. And I'm hoping Wood Avenue is different, but we'll see on Friday. That is a pretty comprehensive plan to upgrade the roadway from the 13th Street interchange all the way down into the business district on Northampton Street. The proposal is to flip the unit block so that drivers no longer have to get veered off onto Church Street. They can come directly into the business district. We'll have some added signalization there. And at the same time, we'll flip Church Street the other way so that the fire department will have better access out to the neighborhood. I know that was a concern. And then there's a proposal to also upgrade the intersection of Church Prospect and 7th Street so that it's not as awkward as it is today.
Dr. Ruggles, just a couple of things. First of all, I applaud you for the markings on the Avenue and Cattell, my observations is they actually work. They slow people down. Not everybody, but I think it does. It's strange how a visual thing like that will cause people to actually slow down. But I think it's worked.
One of the things under consideration, whether it happens or not, I don't know, but an active discussion is a median that'll begin somewhere around McCartney Street and end right around Upper Cattell, so that trucks will have enough radius to get through.
Right.
But it will, they're transverse optical lines, and they do tend to squeeze the lane down and make it seem slimmer, which is, it does calm traffic.
The other thing that I was going to ask about is,
You're not asking about the 13th Street sign, are you?
no,
Okay.
not yet.
It's finished.
It's done. It
It's
looks
done.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well done.
The construction on Cattell, okay, we're currently having construction for the new residence hall at Lafayette, and there's been some times when that closed off McCartney. Have we taken that into consideration? Because you really can't do both of them at the same time. I mean, you can't have both of them closed at the same time.
Right. So there's stipulations in the bid package that there are no road closures, at least foreseen, and they are to work on opposite corners so that they're not tearing apart, one crosswalk or the other. So, and the only thing we'll have to work on is, I believe the package calls for removing the existing brick crosswalks that are there. They're sort of at the end of their useful life, and I think we'll replace them with like a visible ladder style crosswalk.
Third thing, on the Wood Avenue, that unit block currently going one way west, it's not really wide. I mean, there's room for one lane, and then there's parking in there. And so if we make that 2 lanes, the parking disappears, I would guess.
It would only, well, no, we can't take that parking. It's going to be one way east.
Oh,
We're just gonna flip it.
and you're gonna switch. Oh, I thought you meant it was going to be 2 ways there.
It was close. We looked at it really closely, but we were not comfortable with the lane widths we could get while keeping the parking.
Okay.
So we ended up keeping it one way.
Okay. So it'll be one way coming east.
East,
then.
correct.
And the last thing I will say is that we did put 3 speed limit timing devices, signage over on Berwick and the one at the top of Smith Avenue.
So we have East and West Berwick and incoming into the city on Smith Ave.
And let city council know that our plan is to do 3 in the West Ward and 3 in College Hill as well. We may not need 3 on College Hill. We'll need 1 on Knox Avenue, obviously, and Cattell Street, but definitely I can see Butler Street, Lehigh, and Ferry and Washington, all 4 of them having one over there. So it does tend to slow traffic down.
And we are actively looking into those, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you, Dave.
Artie.
You did. 7th Street.
7th Street. And while Mr. Hopkins was up here, I should have mentioned, if you get complaints about the circle, the north side traffic lights was hit by lightning, and it destroyed one of the electric panels, which is on order. As soon as it comes in, our electricians will put it in. But the timing is a little bit off on the north side. When? Oh, it came in. It went in today. Great. That's even better. Wow, we could have told Gene today at breakfast. Anything else? Okay.
You gotta
The
take a vote.
resolution, you need to take a vote.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
At this time, we have public comment on any item that concerns the city of Easton. Comments, questions, concern. Just come up, give your name and address. Good.
I'm Michelle Anke. I live at 932 Ferry Street.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Oncay.
Oncay.
Yes.
And 932
Ferry.
Ferry.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here basically, I'm going to thank Councilwoman Santo for being there. She has been the only one that, when the fire happened on Memorial, that was there all the time. I've seen her every day. I was at 1021 every single day helping, volunteering my time to do what I can. Lance, and that was the only spot we were able to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He was the only one there willing to provide us water when the water was off. But I am here to thank her because she was there. She was the only one I seen. I haven't seen any of his present here. But I'm just here to, thank her for being there. I am, outraged, highly outraged, the fact of when Lance Wheeler was arrested and she was there at that time, that should have never happened. I'm sorry, I'm really outraged. I see a lot, and I know a whole lot about different things with politics, and that was definitely a politics thing.
What had to do with
I'm
how did
sorry.
it have to do with politics, Ms. Onkane?
But I'm here basically just because you were all basically really upset over what he was doing. Sorry. And if I get into it, I'm really like what I have to say.
What he was doing was great.
Yeah.
That day.
It was awesome.
But
all week long, it was great. All week long.
Yeah, that day. That week.
But
That's
I'm
not what
sorry.
he was. He wasn't
you
arrested
don't
for
arrest
that.
somebody when they're trying to do something good for the city.
Did you go to Wilson Borough Council and tell them that?
Huh?
Did you go to the Wilson Borough Council?
I have not been up there, but
Well,
I
that's
will
the
be more
group
than
that
happy to
arrested
do
him
that.
day. They chose to do it that day.
Mm.
That wasn't the Easton Police Department. We had nothing to do with that arrest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I'm just like really outraged of all that. But I just want to thank her because she's been there every day. She was there every day helping us. Any concerns, anything we needed, she was there. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you. I mean, it was nice that all these other places were collecting items. But I'm gonna tell you, none of us on Ferry Street seen any of it. I'm sorry.
You're on the wrong side of the street.
Everybody-
You
it's
get
just-
assistance. You're on 9. You said you were at 932.
It doesn't matter. I know the people on the other way.
Oh, but I'm saying that's why. Obviously, 932. As far as I know, all the money was. A lot of the money was given out. Both Samantha was here, and it was in my office again the other day. She gave out her $7,000 that was raised. St. John's Lutheran Church gave out the $16,000 they had. That's $23,000 that the people did get. Now, if you're saying they didn't get it, I'd like proof of that because we were told they got it.
Okay. Because
I saw them.
I know of as
Yeah.
a story. I'm but again, I'm here to speak on.
I will say
reference to
that-
her and stuff, but still.
You can't say they didn't get it because I saw them get it physically. I was there.
Yeah.
I saw them get handed the money, and I saw them take the money. So you can't stand there and say they didn't get the money.
Yeah, the money that Samantha has collected through GoFundMe page was distributed. And also Tao, she raised some fund at Hale Park football fundraiser, and it was I think $700. It was distributed last Friday as well. So I'm not sure about other items or the locations, but I'm sure the money that was raised, the monetary donation was distributed.
Okay.
But thank you. I really appreciate your kind words from me.
And I want to say that you may see people out there that are very high profile, and you say, oh yeah, I see you. There are a lot of people that were in the background that was doing a lot of work on this that you didn't see, and I think that you need to think about all those other people that were out there doing work in the background to help the people with the fire.
So you're saying after the fact is where it all needs to be.
I'm sorry?
Not when the president.
Ma'am, you got to come closer to the mic, Kenny.
I said everything's going to be afterwards, not when it was actually per se needed. So some of those that don't have housing, that I know is out of the hotel at this point, that are looking, they don't get no money, no rent money, no nothing. or is that coming out of what they will receive?
I don't
I
understand the
lost
question.
it. It's all right. Not
I
a
didn't understand the question.
I just want to take a moment to thank Michelle. I think I saw you a couple of times. Actually, I think you were there too, volunteering your time to help the victims. So thank you so much for being there.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yvette Simmons.
I'm sorry, what was the name
Yvette Simmons,
and your
I'm-
address?
1019 Ferry Street. And I'm here to thank Councilwoman Sultano. I watched this woman and I was shocked. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm going to tell you why I was shocked, and I'm not going to be here long, because a lot of times you don't see people in office out there doing the groundwork. I understand people in the background doing things. A lot of things I do, I'm in the back, don't care too much about being in the front. But because she took her time to come and was there every day, her husband was even there every day, helping. And it shocked me because, like I said, you don't see it. Everybody has their lives, people, and I know some people that sit in some seats and feel like, you know, I'm up here and I don't have to go down there. Sometimes you do, because the people put the people that's in office, and we expect to see more of you. So to you on today, I salute you for what you have done. It's very rare to see someone in office take out of their busy schedule every single day and come and help the people that need it. I was also a server. She served, her husband served. I was like, oh my God. And then I'm not sure who the other person is. He ran for office. He came out and the people were talking to him. I had to come out of my house. I had to come out of my house because there was so much yelling and screaming. Because he said, I came by, I rode by. You rode by, but you couldn't come down the street for a second. Sometimes your presence make a
I
difference.
think that was not Mr.
Well,
Ken Green. Ken Green was the one who was helping.
It was someone else too, but I don't. I actually remembered you too because I let you use my restroom.
Yes.
So I just want to come and thank you, and I have not ever sat in one of these meetings, but from now on, when I know a meeting is going forth, I'm going to show up.
Thank you.
I'm going to
Second
show
and
up.
fourth Wednesday of the month.
Second and fourth.
And the Tuesday before is the committee meeting.
Okay, I don't come to try to make nobody else feel bad or nothing for not, but I'm saying the city of Easton got to do a little bit better with.
Ma'am, let me tell you,
being
I don't feel
present.
bad at all. I know what I
I'm not
did
saying
for those
you do.
people. I know what I did for them.
Okay,
I don't have to publicize it. I know what I did for them.
I'm not saying publicize what you did. I said sometimes it's good to see your face.
And ma'am,
That's it.
I showed up. I don't know. I don't remember seeing you.
I was every day. I live right there.
I showed up. Matter of fact, a couple times I had a conversation with Clifford, who would live in the same block, the block up.
Okay, sir, I didn't see you, but I remember Councilwoman because she was there every day, and we all talk like normal people.
And that's great.
No up here, no
That's
down
great.
there, and
So-
it was wonderful. I'm just saying,
Maybe Councilwoman
Thank you.
Sultana can propose
Thank
what
you. It's
she
great.
said she was embarrassed that the city didn't have anything. So maybe we would know what she has, what plan, because I've been here since May 29th, and we have not heard any plan of what she thinks the city should do. We do not have a housing project. We do not, housing department. We do not have a human services project. That is the county, and now, as Mr. O'Connell said, the nonprofits do all that for us, and we support them every year with grants. We just gave $150,000 to the Third Street Alliance, and Elisa was very involved in helping to find housing for these people, and we will do whatever we can do, but maybe there's a plan that I don't know about.
oh, okay, I'm not disputing none of that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was good to see her there.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure.
And
it
it's
was.
been another fire, just the other day. I don't know what's going on with all these fires back to back, but something. But I just thank you,
I appreciate your kind words.
and I thank you all for this time. I'm not trying to cause no problems, but she needs to be recognized for who she is. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
Nobody
you,
gonna
Ms.
like it, but I appreciate that. I appreciate your words. Yes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Joel Atkinson. Currently, I'm of 1116 Russell Avenue in Fountain Hill, Pennsylvania, but until late last year, I was of 5 North 3rd Street, just down the road here. I think I can see my old window.
Spell your last name, please.
Atkinson. Yeah, I know there's a lot of variations on Atkinson, isn't there?
Okay.
So I'm here tonight given the controversy at the last council meeting, and I'm here to voice my support like the previous citizens did of Councilwoman Sultana. I think her perspective on council is valuable, and her support for the marginalized is aspirational. As was attested previously, whenever something is happening in the community, she can be expected to be amongst the citizens of Easton supporting them. I think it was quite silly that she was asked to apologize for sharing a video of Easton employees at work.
Did you say
a
it was
video
silly?
of Easton
Did you say it was
employees.
silly?
Is this public Q&A or is this public comment? If a video of Easton employees
I'm asking
silly,
you a question.
yeah, I said silly.
Yeah, just want to know.
If a video of Easton employees looks bad while they're at work, then perhaps that work needs examination. This is simply governmental transparency, and she has nothing to apologize for. To conclude, Sultana's advocacy and diligence, I think, would be a welcome addition to any municipal body. And I think Easton's fortunate to have her, and I hope to live in the city one day again so I can call her a councilwoman of my city. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else like to address City Council?
I just want to thank Mr. Joel. I appreciate all the support. Yeah. There's another one.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Jay Hymans, 518 Parsons Street, Easton, Pennsylvania.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Hymans, Hymans,
And I'm sorry, what was the address again?
518 Parsons Street.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for allowing me to exercise my right as a taxpaying citizen and to address you this evening. My concern is I feel a disconnect as a small yet growing black business owner in the city of Easton. I would like some clarity on thoughts on how the city holds probate attorneys accountable for obtaining administrator positions over appointed executors and executrix by the wishes of deceased family members that left those responsibilities to the family members through a will. My company, Iconic Cash Equity, went into agreement with the estate of Joseph Dawson, deceased, with the executrix Vita Hymans, which is present on March 15th, 2023, and signed 2 addendums to extend the closing to July 3rd, while I was still obtaining funds to close. My numbers all checked out. As real estate investors, we use a certain formula, which I'd be happy to share with Mr. Mayor and Council if you allow me tonight. I raised $100,000 for the purchase and rehab, in which I created 2 pitch decks, a video of the deal on College Hill, of how my company will save student tenants living off of campus for a better product, investors' returns, City of Easton taxes, and other pieces of literature. I think Mr. Milan has that email that I sent recently. I was rejected by 44 banks, credit unions, hard, and private money. I also, in my pitch deck, I explained how I would develop on College Hill like the late, great David W. Nevin of the Paxnosa Inn and other luxurious developments from the early 1900s. I just rolled my sleeves up and not knowing how to get it done, I just got it done without any complaints. Finally, I obtained what I thought was a partner, and as you know in business, specifically in real estate, a lot of these people are frauds. And this partner was too. So I had to get back out there and raise funds again, and to be rejected by another new round of 27 private investors. This took 5 months and days of exhaustion out of my personal finances to make this work. And finally, one investor believed in my deal and was generous enough to believe in me and my deal, and we put that $40,000 plus closing, $5,000 into our title company. And we were ready to close on July 3rd, as my addendum stated. This seems to be like a happy story, right? Black kid from the Bronx, made it, finally somebody believes in you, and you can go forward and you cannot now live your dreams. Well, I thought it was all good until an attorney stepped in on June 14th without evidence, except for I gave the executrix enough time, and by that, the judge granted that attorney the administrative rights to the estate. The executrix also happens to be my mother, which she paid out of her own pocket $9,000, which includes Easton taxes, appraisals, junk removal, lawyer fees, etc. She has been misled and taken advantage of by this attorney and others attorney in this process, as she was just learning herself. I have been told by this attorney that he will not close, that my contract is not valid, which is every dime of that I put into this deal, into closing, so we can renovate and make this property rentable, and also keep it in my family that we've been there for 63 years on College Hill. My question to you, Mr. Mayor and Council, is how is it that Attorney Stephen Gazanzan, above all of our laws and cities, is not to be held accountable? How is he able to rise above these laws that we have to abide by, and nobody holds him accountable? Nobody is above the law. You can ask former Mayor Pulowski from Allentown, who's serving a 15-year sentence right now. I feel discriminated against as a black business professional, as police were called on myself and my family when we had a meeting with the attorney in which we committed no crime. My mother has been lied to and robbed of her inheritance position to settle the estate, and now the property is going into foreclosure because Attorney Guzman has not paid the property taxes, which we told him was going to be done on June 30th. We have this documentation too. It is my belief we need attorneys and judges that take the oath of office seriously. We need attorneys that believe not in just the letter, but also in the spirit of democracy. And the central spirit of democracy is that an attorney, as an attorney, you are just a representative of the people. In a series of co-equal branches, there are checks and balances to that system. You are subject to those checks and balances. You cannot ignore them. You cannot make your own rules. You cannot view the Justice Department and local government as your personal law firm. You cannot ignore the norms or the guardrails. They have been put in place to ensure that your self-interest isn't what drives these institutions and law firms in our city, but rather is the interest of the American people. And so, if you have anybody that's occupying these offices that disregard that higher purpose, then you're going to have problems in our local government. The good news is that through the mechanics of voting, the people in our community will have the opportunity to reaffirm that belief in American democracy. Mr. Mayor and Council, I believe that what happens in the United States matters around the world, starting with our local government. So I am here to ask clarity of how one can take possession of a position from the executrix without any evidence of misconduct or misappropriations of funds. Just as simple, because I said so, from the attorney won't do. Any suggestions? Thank you.
Jay, let me just turn this over to the solicitor. We don't handle any of that.
I understand,
That's
sir.
at the county,
Yes.
that's at the county level.
Yeah,
I understand.
If I may, I mean,
Hello, Mr. Shear. How are you?
I'm just thinking to myself that I would have to sit, if you were a private client, which this is not a city matter, I would be sitting down with you for at least 2 hours to unravel
Probably
what
4.
happened here.
Yes.
Because it's you know, there's just a lot of things thrown into the mix. But yeah, the municipal government has absolutely no licensing, and the name of the attorney, I'm not quite sure who it is.
Stephen Gazanzan.
Gazuzian.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
from
I'm sure
Palmer-
he's everybody's
from,
friend.
From Palmer Township. No,
Sure
I'm not gonna.
Yep, we're gonna play that.
I do, believe me, I do not. I can be totally objective here. He practices in Palmer Township. We don't even get a business license or privilege tax that he would be paying because he doesn't. His offices aren't here.
Understood.
So it's even a further step. But it wouldn't make a difference. Palmer Township has no rights there. There's the only place that you could, I mean, besides having your own attorney to review the issues and appear in court, because we have I'm going to stand up because this seat is too low.
Yeah, I can barely hear you. I'm sorry. Mayor Panto's on the phone. I don't mean to. Am I interrupting your call?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I came in a seat that was
That's okay,
I
Mr.
can't
Joe. I
fi-
appreciate
I
that.
can't figure out how to get that straightened out. But the thing is, you know, unfortunately, the legal system is not necessarily a system where people have appropriate equities because it is controlled by your ability to afford legal counsel.
Yes,
And everything is, we have technically an adversarial system. The thing is, we do have a very strong ethical standards. And if an attorney's acting beyond the bounds of those ethical standards, the place to raise your complaint is the ethics board of the Pennsylvania lawyers. And it is, I'm telling you, they are very, very tough. They will take every complaint very seriously. If something was done that is unethical, I can't judge that.
yes, sir.
But your issues are extremely complicated. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that this body can't begin to provide any relief for you, and I don't even know where to begin, because you really need your own private counsel to piece it together and find out if you know what your rights are and how you ultimately protect them. But if something was done that is unethical, you do have recourse with the Pennsylvania Disciplinary Board.
I appreciate that, Attorney Shearer. Thank you so much. And if you would be so kind to provide that information to me, I will get on that too as well.
Just Google it, because that's what I'd have to do. I don't have it just here. Pennsylvania, it's Pennsylvania Disciplinary Board. It's an arm of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
Okay.
And it's a completely independent. It's the one thing that every attorney dreads is hearing from them, because they will take every complaint seriously. They may dismiss it, but they'll look at it.
I appreciate that. Mr. Mayor, Council, I appreciate that too. I know I've been told by everybody that this is not the place or, to say this, but I just wanted to let the record show that, it's obviously being recorded and it's gonna go down in history. And I also plan to run for state senate in the next 10 years. So this is a big step for me, and I appreciate everybody here today. Thank you very much.
We thank you for coming too, and bounding
Mr.
on
Hyman, do you have a copy of your statement that
Yes.
I can have? Can I
Yes,
have it,
ma'am.
please?
Yes, ma'am.
and putting out there publicly your thoughts and ideals, and don't give up on your dream, please.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or concerns? Name and address, please. And before you start, as a council member-elect, you are invited to sit at the little kids' table, like Ms. Rose. It's the next step.
I like to sit in the back. Frank Pinnabone, 1107 West Berwick, Easton. I didn't come here to speak. I just came here to just watch what was going on. But I want to speak to the young ladies that were sitting behind me. Ma'am, that was I that you spoke to on Ferry Street with all the shouting. That was me and you talking. Well, right, but then you came out. I'm the most handsome person in the room. Remember me next time, please. No, but I applaud you guys for thanking Councilwoman Sultana. It's good to be thanked and recognized for what you do. I just want to make it known that so many people in the city came together to help that night with the fire. The night of the fire, while the fire was still going on, I put on Facebook, you can track it, that we need to start collecting. We need to come together as a city. Within 30 minutes, I had about 20 emails. I called the mayor, I called Ken Brown. I said, listen, I kind of messed up. I got collections, I don't know where we're gonna put them. They said, it was about, 10 o'clock at night? They said, give us to the morning, we'll find something. Within that time, I reached out to Barron and we reached out to Pastor Jason in Shiloh. They said, we'll give you the church, drop everything off here. The next 3-4 days, myself and Barron, in between work, because we both have full-time jobs, drove all over. I can tell you who we went to, Bank Street Creamery, Men One at Connections Gallery. They were collecting things, we were picking them up and taking them to Shiloh. We didn't know that Lance was doing something at the time when we set it up. So we were over there. Councilman Ruggles' wife, she stepped up and took cash donations without taking a fee like United Way does. No.
United Way.
Was it United Way? Mm-hmm. They take a fee out of donations. Ms. Ruggles said, I will take the money, no fee, and I will give it back to you. Myself and Barron, we had a truck full of stuff that we collected one day, the first day, and we were getting calls for more donations to pick up. So we actually dropped some stuff off to Ken Green, on the first day when you guys were there and we took the rest to Shiloh. Shiloh ended up bringing in 2 big pods to keep everything in, and everything went to the fire victims. One of my apartments came available recently, and I went over and met with Mr. Queen yesterday and said, I have an apartment available. I'll cut the rent, give it to anybody that lost their home. Miss Tamaya Smith wants to move in there. She lost her home on 10th Street. When I'm saying this to say, you have people in this room that's been in this city 30, 40 years and have busted their butt for the people in this city. And if they wanted recognition, they can get it. You know, they can, and I'm not saying that's what anybody's looking for. What I'm saying is they can itemize the list. I can talk about Ken Brown since I was 12 years old and what he did for us growing up in Delaware Terrace, before he became a councilman, before he got on school board. I could talk to Sal Panto. I could talk to Mr. O'Connell, okay? Mr. Edinger. I've known these guys since I was a child, right? And I've watched what they've done, and people like me have grown up and followed in their footsteps, and we try to give back. So as you're congratulating or thanking Ms. Sultana, which was great to do, try not to take shots at other people because you didn't see them. Because they're, not you, ma'am, I get it, but just in general. Because when people say we didn't see anybody, well, you know, I couldn't be there to serve food. I got to work. You know what I mean? I have bills and things to pay too. I work 10, 12 hours a day. Baron drives to Kutztown every day. So in between, we picked up clothes for 3, 4 days and dropped them off at Shiloh. It wasn't against Ferry. We started before, when Ferry started, there was no talk. And as you're shaking your head, no, I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, just be mindful that it's good to thank somebody, and I'm sure nobody else is looking for a thanks. And Councilwoman Sultana said it wasn't needed. I get it. Don't put other people down, because we've all been working. And that fire last week in Pine Street, I know I was there, and I saw Ken Brown and Mayor Panto there as well. We were there at night. Barron drove. So we were over there for that, you know, fire. So even though it wasn't as devastating, people care, and we were there as well. So just be mindful. There's a lot of people in this city that have been helping this city 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That's more for Sal, because he's the oldest one up there. But, you know, so just because we don't look for the recognition, or we're not out there looking to get pictures taken or looking to make a scene, don't assume we're not there trying to help. That's all. And I'm not saying you did. I'm just putting it out there in general. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address City Council? Enzo, I'm going to check on that with, Stephen Orowski's here. Give him what is your address? 1038? 1020. 1020 Ferry Street. She's not sure if she has the buyer notification inspection done or not. And she's selling her house. Hopefully it's under agreement. But you need to get that, not the buyer. You just need to order it. Okay, I have a motion. Oh, go ahead, Samantha.
How are you, Samantha?
No way.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to say.
Spell your last name, please.
Oh, yeah, Juchem, Juchem. So I was here at the last council meeting, as you guys know, and for anyone new here at tonight's meeting, one of the big things that I talked about was having some type of city mediator to help in disaster relief when stuff happens here in Easton. And I'm just really thankful because yesterday I sat down with Kristen Cooper, who has just been hired on to essentially act as a city mediator, as a community advocate. And I'm just really appreciative of that, because I think that, you know, is a step in the right direction as far as making the process more efficient, as far as like helping people in the community when any disaster happens. So I'm just really excited to see what she does here at the city, and thank you to everyone who has helped out in the process. It's the whole community. Like it literally does take a whole village.
Absolutely.
And like I know this past week when I handed out donations that me and my sister raised for the fire victims, our main point with that was to make the distribution as equitable as possible based on all the public information that we have, you know, learned since the fire. You know, there was some personal GoFundMes, there was, you know, there's homeowners versus renters, and regardless if you're a homeowner or renter, there's some people who had insurance and who didn't, and some people who are in different situations. And so it was a very thought out process. We talked with a lot of people in the community to make the best decision that we could. You know, with with what everything that's going on, and I do feel in my heart that we did what was right. And I couldn't. In the news, I know 69 News said it. They said my name a lot. I really wish they would have emphasized all the people that help support me to support others, and it wasn't just me. I could never ever take that credit, and I don't want to. It takes the whole entire community. So as far as fundraising goes, and then also distributing it, it was not just me. It was a lot of people behind the scenes, and a lot of phone calls, and a lot of panic attacks, a whole bunch of stuff. So thank you guys, and thank you to the whole community, whoever will eventually hear this outside of this room.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Samantha.
you.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village, actually. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, actually, it's a community who came together
Mhm.
and, make that happen. Like, so many organizations, Third Street Alliance, we've been working together, Alisa
Yeah.
Barada has been amazing, I think, as far as I know, almost every displaced person has been find housing at this moment. Either they have been housed or they are signing their lease by the end of this week. I know there's one family with 3 kids. They're still struggling, and I'm trying to find an apartment for them. But yeah, definitely a community who came together and make that happen.
For sure, yeah. Like my mom and Jean, they're in a new safe place, and it's because of the community, and we're really thankful for that. And there's every other fire victim there. I know that there's progress being made. I don't know, to the extent all the details, because that's their personal information. But me and a bunch of people tried to help in the best way we could, and it all comes down to communication. And for anyone in the future that becomes a victim of a disaster, it's really important that we have someone with the city to communicate things and help oversee, making sure fire victims or any victim in that manner is getting the help that they need. Because I don't think it's intentional that people fall through the cracks. It just sometimes happens. And it doesn't mean that no one's paying attention or no one cares. It's just, there's just so much going on. I literally, my life has been on pause for over a month, and it's, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
No, we truly appreciate that,
Thank
Samantha.
you, and I
With the-
appreciate everyone else.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Anybody else like to address City Council? Baron? That's a really good T-shirt you have on.
He left it.
I know he left. He's not a golden bear anymore. He's a mule.
Down a peace sack.
He's now a mule.
Down a peace sack.
Leaving the peace sack, going D3, but still a very good institution.
Good school.
Very good
Granddaughter.
institution.
My granddaughter has a degree from there.
Good evening, council and members of the public. Baron Vanderberg, 6 Starlight Drive, Palmer Township.
I'm sorry, what's the address?
6 Starlight Drive, Palmer Township.
He knows where they used to show movies.
Yeah, right in the movie theater. I'm one of those that
Spelling of your last name.
VANDERBURG. Mayor Panto and members of the council, I was very inspired as I sat there for a moment as not only a advocate of Easton and our public face and our public figure, but also as a student and a practitioner of the political process. With young lady's name Samantha, did I hear that correctly? As I was sitting in my seat there, I kind of thought of an idea that I thought I might present out to the council that might be something that can be beneficial for the city of Easton. I grew up in the New York City suburbs, the immediate Long Island, New York City suburbs. And one of the greatest things that I think happens in the New York City area as it relates to public government is the established office of the public advocate in New York City. That is a role similar to the one mentioned by the young lady that spoke just before me, that has a responsibility to be the liaison between the government of the city as well as the electorate of the city. When you have a role such as that one, you get to minimize the hodgepodge of information that comes together and gets convoluted and gets all messed up. So when you have that type of situation going on, you can put yourself in a position where your electorate is a little bit more informed. So there may not be a misunderstanding that one person was involved rather than a lot of people was involved. You have somebody that can coordinate all of the different efforts and also advertise and communicate out some of those things. I thought it important to mention that to you and the council this evening, just as an idea, a seed planted, if you will, so that way we can minimize the misunderstandings that happen as it relates to this. As was mentioned before, I was a part of one of those who did a lot of collecting and coordinating, and don't think that the townships, Palmer and Forks, were left out of supporting the individuals that were affected by the fire. It was a whole Lehigh Valley initiative.
Absolutely.
And I'm very proud of the Lehigh Valley and specifically the city of Easton as it relates to how we handled the fire. So thank you for indulging me for just a minute. Like I said, as a student of government, I can't sit back and sit on an idea that might make the local government run just a little bit better.
Well, that position is a very important position, and it's housed in our police department, but it's certainly for the whole community.
Absolutely.
Art?
Tony Rabbits, 144 Church Street. Mr. Bamberger, you haven't been to the last 20 or 30 council meetings. We do have a public advocate. The mayor, every time someone comes here with a complaint, he answers them. Every time someone says them, the other council members answer them. You just walked in the community for the last 5 minutes, and you don't know what's going on here.
I've been here a little more.
Someone comes here, he answered the call.
I totally get it.
Anyone else like to address city council? Sal?
Good evening. My name is Sal Pugliese. I live at 2225 Hackett Avenue, Palmer Township. I didn't know Easton had a city dump where we can take truckloads of bananas in their boxes and just throw them over the bank. 13th and Elm. I have it on video.
Is that starting to be a problem again? We had issues there.
Sir, the dumping isn't on his property. It's going onto the tracks and beyond the tracks. Now, I got this. Can I approach you, sir, please? Here is truckloads of bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Tandem loads of bananas.
Wow.
Went over to the bank. I have it. I don't know if it's stopped or it's still on something. I mean, here it's coming down. And there's a couple truckloads of bananas just went and got dumped over to the bank.
That was an accident on 78.
Yes, ma'am, there was. But it should have went to the streets, if anything. Not over the bank to 13th and Elm.
Wow.
Again, the dumping continues. I brought this to city council before.
We have a dumping problem throughout the city. There's a lot of reasons, but some of our municipalities
It makes it harder for people to get rid of their stuff. So guess what?
not the city. Every municipality and our surrounding municipalities make it harder. In Easton, you can put anything out you want. We'll take it.
Tires.
Well, there's times when we take them, the electronics and the tires and rubbers, things like that. But I mean, you can put 5, 6 cans out at a time, bags. Out in one of the townships, you could put where you live, you could put one toter out. Every other bag costs you $35. So
we don't fill up one container. I'll be honest.
Oh, I know a lot of people that do, though. You don't, because it's just you and your wife. But there are people that have large families that do. And we just had a staff meeting yesterday. We talked about this as the illegal dumping and what it's going to do to our garbage fees, and the fact that what you have, a lot of people don't like, but it's the future of municipal waste hauling. And that's our concern.
You just don't take it.
Because you can't use a mechanical arm in the city. It's just not going to work.
We can't station a police officer out there, but if you see something like that happening, I would say call the police. That's definitely not legal.
If I call the police, I'll be honest with you, I've called the police in the past. I've gotten no help with them. Only because, and I don't want to say, you guys are in bed with Easton Auto Body, but there's collusion here. And like I said, I brought it to the city's attention numerous times, the dumping.
Sal, that's where you and I are going to disagree. There's no collusion between us and Easton Auto Body. I mean, there's nothing being done. For you to make the accusation, you need to back it up. And if you had proof, I'd be more than happy to take advantage of that evidence. But that's not the case. I mean, they are the only towing company in the city, so they get the towing contract. Tim's is very close. He's getting more and more equipment. He may be close.
Well, like I said, you just can't take food, boxes of
No,
food.
you can't. You're
and
right.
Throw it over the back.
And I think with Mr. Hopkins here, maybe we'll take a look at it. Maybe we'll put some cement barriers there, stop them from getting close to the. But they'll just find another place to dump.
But they're allowing it to happen. Easton
Oh,
Autobahn.
they're allowing it.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
They've been allowing it for years. In fact, the oil company that was down in West Easton, all that land was contaminated. I hate to say it, went over to Easton Autobody's bank.
All right, we'll take a look at that.
I said that to you guys years ago, and nobody.
We'll take a look at that. And Mr. Narowski's here. We'll send the code team out to talk to Easton Autobody, make sure they don't do that.
I just was wondering where the EPA and you guys were. Go ahead,
interrupt
ma'am.
you,
I'm sorry.
but just an example, in Kansas City and some other cities, they have composting services. So it's been a minute since I've followed up with any composting services here in Easton, but has anyone heard anything about that?
We have it. We have it on Saturday mornings at the farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
You can bring your food waste and it'll be composted. But this is illegal dumping. It's a little bit different when you have truckloads.
With a triaxle.
With a triaxle.
Maybe they could connect whoever's dumping the bananas.
Yeah,
people
it's a
that are-
triaxle. That's right. No, that would be great compost.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Anyone else? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion for adjournment. Somebody.
Go ahead, Yvette.
A few minutes. You know, I sat and I thought about something, and I'm listening to everything that's going on, so I'm gonna try to be more visual about a lot of things. But I want to say something with Mrs. Sultana. She actually she represented all of you, because you all work together.
We'd like to
Understand? So as her being there, she was a representative for all of you. And I had to sit back and I had to think about that. But because I saw her in the beginning, that's what made a difference for me. But now I sat down and looked, she represented every last one of you.
City of Easton.
By taking her time every day to be there. Represented
Thank you.
mayor's office.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, so I apologize, but you'll see more of Yvette's.
Thank you.
I made a motion. Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
So we'll take a roll call.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.